Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing the newest entry in the Vinegar Syndrome Ultra line, and that is going to be the Walter Hill directed 1981 classic film, Southern Comfort. So this was a first time watch for me. I do love Walter Hill. I'm a huge Warriors fan. I still need to pick up that 4K from Arrow. One day I'll get there, but we're going to be discussing this today. So how this video is going to work, I'm going to break it down into a few parts. We're going to discuss the packaging, we're going to discuss the video, the audio, the special features, and then I'm going to talk about the film itself at the very end. Like I said, as this was a first time watch for me, and I do have some thoughts about the film itself. So let's get into this packaging already. That's what you came here for anyway. That's the best part of a Vinegar Syndrome release. So let's get into this packaging. All right, so there's the front, there's the back, there's the side, there's the other side, you know, top, bottom, whatever. I got that mixed up, top, bottom. Anyway, it opens up, it's got a magnetic case. If you've never seen any of these before, they do come in magnetic cases, and then they have slip covered versions inside. So let's get that slip covered out. There's the box inside. Really great atmospheric thing. It's set in Louisiana, and this is during the Vietnam War, so this has all that motif throughout the packaging here. This is the classic poster that you do get in there. A little booklet like all of these Vinegar Syndrome Ultras have. I do like that aspect of it. There is our slip cover with all our characters on it. Got Southern Comfort. Let's take that bad boy out. We've got your standard case here. We've got another booklet in here, so you get two little booklets in this release, which is pretty cool. Your 2-disc, your Blu-ray, and your 4K. And then you also have that alternate art that is on the slip cover, which I think is pretty rad overall. This boasts a new 4K scan of the 35mm interpositive. And I recently watched a video put out by Vinegar Syndrome from their archivist that actually explains what an interpositive was. And I had watched this, you know, something like this before, so I kind of vaguely knew what the interpositive was, as it is a means of actually copying the film multiple times so it doesn't actually destroy the negative. But I'm going to link that up below because I think it is an incredible watch, and they have been doing more of this stuff, which I think is super cool. I know they just released one on like film grain, what it is, how it works, and all of that. So I highly recommend you check that out after you watch this video. All right, so let's get into the video. So overall, this is a new 35mm 4K scan of the interpositive, and it looks incredible, man. It looks so good. All the grain is intact. The HDR is doing a lot. They're in the middle of the swamp of Louisiana, so all the moss growing on the trees is really green and refined. I'm gonna put some screenshots of the actual film, overlaid me talking throughout this so you can actually see, but all of that stuff looks fantastic. I was super surprised that this looks so good. Not that I'm surprised that Vinegar Syndrome did a good job in restoring anything, but you know, I've never seen this film before, and when I went and looked back at some Blu-ray footage, because Screen Factory did put out a Blu-ray a long time ago, I was like, okay, this is like mildly better than what they had done. This is the best this film will probably ever look, because we don't have an actual negative of the film, so that interpositive, which is used to actually like copy films multiple times, is the best version that they have, and it looks fantastic. So I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. All the different scenes, from the small little scenes with all of the army guys to when they actually went to the small little village with all this Louisiana people, you know, and then them just, you know, traipsing through the swamp. All that stuff looks fantastic, and I can't highly recommend this release enough. I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5 on the video front. This looks fantastic and a great way to start 2024 off. Let's get into the audio now. All right, so this is a 2.0 mono track. You know, it's an older film, but I think this still does capture that atmosphere of what they were going for. So not going to be the most dynamic, you know, room shaking, you know, audio track that you're going to find, but it does do what it's supposed to do here, and it sounds pretty good, and it sounds clean, and you know, everything is audible, so I didn't have any issues on that front. But you know, I don't really have a lot to discuss on the audio front. I think a lot of the action works, you know, whenever they're shooting the guns. There's an early scene where they're shooting off blanks to kind of scare Casper, who's one of the leaders of the thing, and you know, that's kind of resounds, even though this is only a 2.0 track, depending on the front speakers you have and the center channel you have, I think it's still going to sound pretty room, you know, filling. You know, I've got some nice front speakers, so it's filled my room for me personally. All right, now we're going to talk about those special features, but on the audio front, I'm going to give this probably about a 4 out of 5. I think it's the best that they could do, so I don't want to ding it because there's no like 5.1 track when that doesn't actually exist. So I think this is the best that they could do with what they had. So again, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Solid on the audio front. Let's get into those special features now. All right, so let's get into the special features. So I'm going to read them off to you so you can kind of know what's in there. I have watched a handful of these, and I'll kind of pinpoint the one that I think is the best for you, and then we'll kind of rate those special features and then get into the film itself. All right, so we've got a commentary track with Walter Shaw, author of Walter Hill Film, Tragedy and Masculinity in Films of Walter Hill. Battle in the Bayou, a brand new interview with co-writer-director Walter Hill, which is super interesting, and that's probably my favorite one. And then we've got Behind Enemy Lines, a brand new featurette with editor Freeman A. Davies and assistant editor Lisa Zeno Churgin. We've got Soldiers Not Mailmen, a brand new interview with costume designer Dan Moore. Into the Unknown, a brand new interview with film historian Wayne Byron on Southern Comfort and the legacy of Walter Hill. The next thing, we've got archival featurette featuring interviews with co-writer-director Walter Hill and co-writer-producer David Giller, along with actors Powers Boothe, Keith Carradine, Peter Cody, and Lewis Smith. We've got some still galleries, video trailers, and that rounds out our special features. So overall, this is a solid release as far as packaging, video, audio, special features. I'm going to give probably about a 4 again. This is a well-rounded wealth of new stuff, which is what I want. So it's not just like packed to the gills with a bunch of old stuff mixed with a bunch of new stuff. I'm fine. You know, some people want all of the old stuff mixed in with all the new stuff, but you know, I can take it or leave it if I've got all the old stuff mixed in, because most of the time you can find this stuff. It is cool if that's the most comprehensive kind of release of that, but some of those features may, you know, belong to a Scream Factory or stuff like that, so you may not always get all those, but these are all new, which is what I really want. I want new featurettes of stuff and having people talk about the film in a modern context, not just something from 20 years ago. Now, if that's all we had, if it was a specific director who's passed away or something like that, then yes, I maybe want that involved, you know, and packaged in with this, but I like seeing new featurettes, and there's a lot of them to love on this. So 4 to 5 on the special features route. Now, let's get into the film itself. So again, first time watch for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this film a lot. I'm not going to say it's the most exciting, like, war movie. It is a very small movie. Now, I do like the varied aspects of where they go. Even though they're in the bayou, it is varied, like, as far as what they're doing. They're in swamps sometimes, they're in the forest sometimes, they're going off to these, like, small little camps. So I do like the palette of the film, even though it is very swampy and green and brown. I think it looks fantastic, and I do like kind of what they're talking about in this film. It's set during the Vietnam War, and we're following this little pack of guys that are going out, Team Bravo, and they're going out to kind of scout, but they really don't know what's going on, and I'm going to kind of leave that up to you, what you think the ending actually means, because I've seen it discussed many times, because I was like immediately on my phone being like, what does this mean? You know, what does the ending mean? You know, so I have my own takeaway from that, and then I think people have their own takeaways as well. But we've got a guy from Texas coming in to join this Louisiana group of guys, and things go awry when they steal some canoes, and then they're later confronted by this band of French Louisiana guys who are going to take revenge for some pranks that were pulled in the very beginning. So overall, I thought it was an enjoyable movie. The characters are what really shines in this film. Not necessarily like the action. All that stuff's decent, but it's mainly the characters and then following them along, and kind of how some of them have this little bit of descent into madness, just being stuck in the bayou and they can't find their way out, and then they're being hunted at some point as well. So overall, solid movie. I'm not going to rate the movie. I'm not here to do that. That is for you to decide what you think of the movie. I'm just here to talk about some video and audio. I'm getting out of that reviewing game. Anyway, so overall, I think this is a solid release. The packaging is great. The video is great. The audio is great. Overall, I'm going to give this release as a whole a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a solid entry in the Vinegar Syndrome Ultra line, and a movie that I didn't expect them to do, but I'm happy that I picked up and I enjoyed it overall. So I'm happy to add it to the collection. All right. That's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to link some videos for you at the end. As always, if you like what we do here, consider subscribing to the channel, becoming part of the collective, and I'll talk to you guys in my next review.